Welcome to Breaking Banks, the #1 global fintech radio show and podcast. I'm Brett King.
And I'm Jason Henrichs. Every week since 2013, we explore the personalities, startups, innovators, and industry players driving disruption in financial services.
From incumbents to unicorns, and from cutting-edge technology to the people using it to help create a more innovative, inclusive, and healthy financial future. I'm JP Nicols, and this is Breaking Banks.
With everything going on in the world, you may have missed that it's actually a very important time of year. That's right. This is when Kia and I argue that Die Hard is, in fact, the greatest Christmas movie ever made. And Kia wrongly continues to argue that just because a film might be filmed coincident with the holidays, that does not, in fact, make it a holiday movie. So rather than having a serious conversation about the serious things going on in the world of regulatory reform, stablecoins, and banking, we thought we'd just hit record on the Alloy Labs holiday party. And these are the things we talk about when we're not chatting with you, our banker and fintech friends. We talk about really nerdy subjects like why do most holiday movies somehow tie into the world of banking and fintech? And I mean, Die Hard is obvious, right? Like you have the terrorists coming in to steal bearer bonds, the crypto of the 1990s, anonymous currency to be stolen. Now, I have a whole lot of issues I want to talk about, like why there are $600 million of bearer bonds in the vault of the Nakatomi Plaza. Like, how did they not have an SEC regulator come in and say, what are your controls around this? Because I don't think the 7 locks on the safe are going to be sufficient, as we'll talk about.
Well, they weren't, but come on, that was a hell of a safe.
Hell of a safe, but come on, the FBI turning off the power, and that's what's going to do it? Come on. All right, let's kick it off. And I want to start with my fellow patriot in headgear, Pam, newest member to the Alloy Labs team and rocking the great Mickey tinsel top. Talk to us about what is your favorite holiday movie banking tie-in?
I'm going to go kind of off the rails and go with Harry Potter. I feel like it gives big Christmas vibes for me every year. I think growing up, every year there was a Harry Potter Christmas marathon, big magical lights, snow, family, all of those. I feel like it classifies as a Christmas movie.
Okay.
For a few reasons, I'm going to tie it back into banking and financial industry. One, Harry ends up going through the great wealth transfer in the very beginning of the movie. He has no idea how to deal with this. He spends way above his means. He has no idea how to manage his wealth. So that we'll get to that a little bit more later. And then second, there's literally a bank in the movie, Gringotts, which is the most sketchiest bank, we've ever seen. They call themselves a bank. They supposedly have a bank charter, but really they're just vaults with no real balance sheet. They don't do lending. They have no BSA AML controls, clearly, considering what kind of sketchy stuff is in the vaults. And then we can also tie back to the crypto world of they're literally just rails. You go across the rail to get to your vault. So we cannot tie in any better to what's going on right now and on all the themes that we're seeing in banking today.
Well, if that were remade today, the Gringotts teller lobby would be cut in down by about 75%, right? And put what are those people called? Those creatures that work at Gringotts?
Goblins?
Yeah,
They're
they're goblins. Come on. Know your mythical creatures.
I thought they had an actual name. Well, anyway, whatever they are, one would be a universal goblin, so we're working the whole thing.
They're also very grumpy, as I would be if I was working at a bank during Christmas time.
Yeah.
Could you have done this transaction digitally? Can we introduce you to our Goblin Pay system?
Goblin
Pay by goblet.
Download our app.
Also, how are they letting an 11-year-old inherit all this money with no, here's how you can manage it. Here's how you should spend it. He kind of just goes immediately off the rails and buys all this candy and buys all this expensive stuff or tries to buy all this expensive stuff. And
how do we know he's not being scammed, right? Like this could be a wizard butchering scheme where, they've convinced him that he'll get his parents back if he just, goes and buys a bunch of gift cards with his newfound gold.
it's probably Lord Voldemort sending him spam emails like I get from you, Jason, saying, "Hey, if you want to meet up and have this battle, come with 20 gift cards."
Oh man.
So
Amber, how about you? I'm interested if it's going to be, an Amber and Jeremy, or is it going to skew towards a kids movie?
Favorite Christmas movie of all time: Original Santa Claus with Tim Allen. We tie this to banking, obvious fraud, identity theft. I mean,
Deep fake, baby.
absolute, the ultimate deep fake. The ultimate deep fake. And then this man is just like rapidly changing. Is no one checking his ID anywhere he goes? Like, you are obviously not the same person, but we're all just rolling with it and pretending like, oh, this is totally normal and okay. And then also, to Pam's point, Home Alone. We have a child with a credit card going on a spending spree. No one is batting an eye. No one.
I mean,
At the plaza. Yeah.
we're
At the plaza.
Yeah.
At the plaza. Ordering pizza.
Yeah. Did anyone think to check the signature on that card? Right? Flip that over.
Okay, how many of you guys even sign your cards anymore? I've never had anybody check the
Never.
signature on my card in like the last 15 years.
Yeah.
Never. But I'm also not a literal fan.
Most of the time I pay with my card. I don't have my card anywhere near me.
Well, it's funny you should say that, Samer. I accidentally shredded my card in August. I thought, well, we got the new card, and I thought I was shredding my old card, and I shredded the new card, and I have the old expired card, but I had already entered it in Apple Wallet, and I've rolled with it since August, and have had one problem.
Yeah. Listen, Amber, I have to get angry at you because this was where I was going to go, but don't worry, I have a backup one. As a child of the 90s that grew up in a household with two brothers in the great state of Michigan, we absolutely were big Tim Allen fans growing up. And so this movie absolutely sticks out. But you have to go back to the entire premise of the movie. It's in the title. This is a legal contracts movie. It is all about some obscure line in their contract that is a hidden element of it that no one is paying attention to. No one is reading. No one's reading the terms and conditions that are at the bottom of the website. We don't know who is underpinning this banking app. No one's looking into their FDIC status. This is a legal question from the start, and it's dubious terms. And so I don't think the regulators would stand for this.
Yeah, if any of these movie scripts had been reviewed by the regulators, none of them would have been ever made.
Well, the regulators were hands off on so many of these things, right? I already called out the SEC with Nakatomi Trading. They have $600 million in bearer bonds that no one's, calling out, looking at this. No one's going through the KYC AML of the plaza, right? Like asleep at the wheel in New York, of all places. Come on now. Yeah, let's go back to some of the originals. Like if we go back to Miracle on 34th Street, like,
yes,
like, should they have actually just adjusted the loan? Should they have started a workout?
Speaking of where's the SEC? Gringotts literally had Horcruxes and other random dark artifacts. The Death Eaters were storing all their money and stuff there. Like, where is the KYC? There is none. It's just, we're going to close our eyes and you can use our facilities however you wish.
Pam, are you suggesting they should have debanked? Like,
they should have debanked.
Well, that's not very Christmas-like.
Listen, if we're going to get into corruption,
current safe deposit boxes. I mean, I'm going to tell you not to put weapons in there, but do I really know what you're doing? And how much do I care? I don't know. Debatable on the day.
If we're going to get into corruption, we have to talk about the greatest Christmas finance crossover, and that, of course, is trading places.
Yes. I was hoping you were going to go there.
I don't know how it actually even slipped my mind, but it's a top movie of all time, let alone a top finance movie, let alone a top Christmas movie.
Well,
what do we have? Okay,
give the quick
ahead.
recap, Samer, because you realize there's a generation that might not know how amazing this film is.
What was that, a 1983 film?
Yep. Yeah. Before I was born, even. This is going to go right at the top of our must-watch list for the team. Trading Places, featuring Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy. Dan Aykroyd is he a broker, or he leads an investment
It's
house?
a commodities firm.
It's a commodities firm. That's right.
Yeah.
And
remember, they're trying to corner the orange juice
market.
That's right. The concentrated frozen orange juice. And it's owned by the Dukes, who are themselves a family and an institution that is not just owned or has been part of the stock market, but really owned the stock market for generations. And Dan Aykroyd is the main operator of their business, and so he is this man of Harvard. He has gone to all the private schools, and he is this respected individual that they trust their money. And Mortimer and Randolph, they make a bet. One says, we're lucky to have what's Dan's name? I need to go watch it again. I'm gonna set an agenda item for this weekend to go watch it. They say we're lucky to have him in position, running our company, watching over our money. And one brother goes, he is a product of environment. And I bet if we put someone else in this position under our stead, we put them in the clothes, they could fill that role and do just as well. And so they go and they find Eddie Murphy, who is living on the street, switch places, put Dan Aykroyd in jail, put Eddie Murphy into that role, and he is now running the firm. The movie ends when Dan and Eddie come onto the plot. They discover that they have been played by these two guys, and they decide to take these two, who are already going to commit many SEC violations, by getting early access to crop reports, which will then determine how the frozen orange juice are going to trade after the new year. They intercept that, corner the market themselves, and send the Dukes into poverty.
Yeah,
where to begin?
Well, so Dan Aykroyd's character, he's the up-and-coming young partner, is Lewis Winthorpe III.
Yes.
And Eddie Murphy is Billy Valentine. Right?
Billy Ray Valentine.
And the whole premise of the movie is because two rich old white guys got bored. And the bet was $1. They bet that anyone could do this. It's kind of the equivalent.
Right. So now you have betting as well. So we can talk about prediction markets.
Oh, it's a total. No, it's not a bet. They're predicting the future, Samer. They're buying a contract of a future outcome. Totally not betting.
Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, well, I was going to say there's no margin requirements. There's no hedging, right? It's just we're going to corner the orange juice future market, which of course very similar to what the Hunt brothers did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as long as we're going to talk about rich old white dudes ruining Christmas for people, naturally leads to one of the other epics. Yeah. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And if the holidays even really kicked off until, for me, it's watch Die Hard first, let National Lampoon Christmas Vacation right afterwards. But talk about kicking things off when instead of getting your bonus, poor Clark just gets, a cheap ass loyalty program.
The Chili of the Month Club. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I suppose that's legal, but it's aggressive.
Is this indicative of the Alloy Labs bonuses that are?
You're going to love the jelly, Pam.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everybody knows that I am Clark Griswold. And I was going to say that secretly I'm also Fred Gailey, the lawyer from Miracle on 34th Street. But the more we talk, the more I realize I might just be the Grinch, because I actually haven't seen that many Christmas movies. So far, we're like 5 for 5. But like the original Santa Claus, I barely remember that one. But I'm old enough to remember Trading Places in the theaters.
Santa Claus came back in rotation for us the last few years. I think last year we picked it back up, and we're like, oh wow, this movie's pretty great.
Now, as long as you brought up the Grinch, we've got to talk about which version of the Grinch are we talking about? And which one, for those of us who have kids of that age, do they change up which Grinch they want? Which they all, by the way, have different lessons. Amber, what is the preference in your household?
So the preference has been the cartoon version of the Grinch until this week. My daughter came home saying someone at school told her that there's a person version of a real life person version is what she called it. But she said it might be too scary for a 5-year-old, but can we try it? So we tried it. And now she is proclaiming that the real life person Grinch is her preference over the cartoon.
Well, and when you say cartoon, do you mean the modern era cartoon or what would that
Not
mean?
the one from 95.
There's one from before that too, I think.
That's what I was about to say, JP. I remember when the one from 95 when came out, and it was still too newfangled for me.
And there's even a newer one than that came out just a few years ago.
Yep.
Yeah, the franchise that just keeps stealing.
Well, I think that also, again, ties back into financial security. And the Grinch has this mindset that there's scarcity in his life. And the whole movie is just about overconsumption. And I think he's trying to remove that from the world. And then I guess kind of in the end realizes, no, overconsumption is fine. It's Christmas.
What's the local economy in Whoville? How much can they actually support? Because we know for sure, without as much as people are spending on Christmas, they are definitely going in debt for the rest of the year. This is just not. This is not smart spending.
And what is it do they do, Sam? Are they exporting goods? What is their cross-border payment scheme? Right? How are we actually doing this? Do they have a kind of stable coin if so much of Whoville revolves around, note they were handing out the Christmas trees and snowballs and other things for free, right? So is this actually, has universal basic income attached? You just hand out all the Christmas goods?
Yeah, and there's that one store in the Jim Carrey version that goes next 5 minutes, 99% off everything. What's the business model there?
Money.
How are they going to make that work? Yeah, money. That's exactly right.
There you go.
Whoville is a socialist, communist economy. Clearly, it doesn't
with excessive consumerism.
With excessive consumer, somehow those two are in alignment. Also, I think the Grinch does not have any financial literacy either. He feels like getting all this stuff is going to fill his little heart with joy. But, at the end of the day, he realizes it's really the community, community thinking.
Which is interesting because you could see in another story that the Grinch, being the hero, gets the Who's to escape their consumerism. And they follow him on the path to socialism or communism, depending on which Marx is writing that book.
I was going to say he's bringing them back to capitalism.
Yeah,
Rich is the ultimate capitalist. I'm going to take everything.
Well, the original one was 1966, and I think as the successive versions went on, he did get more woke. Hey, maybe he had went through therapy or something. I'm wondering if Whoville in the more current versions is a utopian techno bro, cryptocurrency fueled smart city, right?
Yeah, so is the Grinch Peter Thiel? Is that what you're
Yes.
I'm trying to think through it right now, JP. Were there self-driving Who cars in this? Nope. The bus was still being driven. I take it back.
Okay, that fits, right? We don't have to have the things. We just promise the things.
The Grinch does have this whole system of how he gets ready in the morning. That is
very techno advanced.
Yeah, that's definitely cryptocurrency wealth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, along those lines, I've been trying to get the girls into more classics, and so also watching several different variants of A Christmas Carol right now. It's interesting, Amber, you brought up, we lost one night of sleep to the real live person Grinch for Stella last year when she was 5, but Harper has serious questions about being visited by ghosts now when she does things wrong, right? And you think about it as like was rewatching, a cartoon version that I don't think I had ever seen before, but watching the progression of Scrooge and the need for he's taking the higher paying job, and at one point even talks about the fact that he cares about the security and the liquidity, right? That's why he's into gold, right? It's all back.
I hear Scrooge. Gonna have stable assets.
Yeah. When Pam and I, pre her joining Alloy Labs, would be on stage together and we'd be talking about payments, one of my favorite questions to ask was always around, what do you use as currency that isn't actually currency? Pam, why don't you give your answer?
It is gold. That is the universal Indian currency. We hold it for generations. The value is usually consistently pretty high. I'm pretty sure the stuff that my parents had bought 50 years ago is worth much more now. And that's really like their great wealth transfer to us is like, here's all our assets. We don't have cash to give you, but we have these things that you may or may not ever actually sell and gain anything out of, but it is a stable asset in case of emergency. So this is not solid gold, unfortunately. If anybody wants to buy me a
What is it?
That is solid gold.
It's a fidget spinner.
It's the golden.
It's the Harry Potter.
Oh, the golden snitch.
I'm going for Harry Potter, Disney.
All right.
All my favorite Christmas things.
Yeah. How does Macy's handle that when you bring in your bullion?
I have yet to do that, but
one of my personal favorite answers to that was from our dear friend Barb McLean, who up in Canada would take the rewards points from Hortons, right, and get her Timbit points. And for things that she would purchase that she didn't want her husband to know about, like getting snacks and candy and other things, she basically was using the rewards on her gas purchases to launder the money and, do some untracked spending on the side.
Personal money laundering. I love the creativity.
Well, and listen, I'm going to cast no stones. You would be shocked the number of Menards points that I'm able to use for those purchases that I don't want my wife going, you needed another tool for what again? And be like, oh no, it was free, honey.
I think Delta miles are my only non-cash currency, and I have very limited ways to spend them. I guess I could convert them to something else.
JP,
Yeah,
you got
credit card points are the easiest ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is those are they're depreciating probably even faster than your US currency.
Save more.
No value in hoarding them.
Also, are we
because they expire?
Are we counting those
not only
assets?
expire?
I feel like this is the next gen assets, but they're not considered in our assets as like a saving if we're going to go apply for a loan. So like, how do we actually see how much money somebody has in all the places? Like, there's no way. It's, again, you could have it across 30 different loyalty programs. You might have 20 grand across loyalty programs. I know Amex is a dear friend of mine with all the Amex points that I use to buy things. So that doesn't count towards like my wealth, but should it? Can it?
Yeah, but even worse, like if you don't actually use them that often, like I do, you just sit there and accumulate them and eventually hope to unwrap that gift and remember that it's there and go use it. By the time I've done that, I've probably lost 30-50% of the value that I actually accrued just by not spending it sooner.
It's like having your money in a zero interest rate bank account or a negative interest rate environment. To your point, is it depreciating?
The time
and really all we're doing. Exactly. All we're doing is lowering the cost of capital for these corporations.
Forget about the crypto-backed mortgages that we've been pitched all summer on the ventures team, Samer. I want one that takes into account all of my rewards miles, right? Almost in on the 1,000,000 miles on Delta, 1,000,000 miles on American, all the Amex points across different platforms, all of my, Starwood become Marriott points. Give me a mortgage that looks at that as my asset and says, oh yeah, he's got quite a bit here.
Can I pay for my mortgage with Marriott points? Can I use my Marriott points to pay towards my mortgage.
Listen, I mean, I know of people that have been trying to build exchanges for these normal currencies, right? And it's really hard to do, but can we put a price on a liquid price on what 1,000 Chase points are, or 10,000 Amex points? I have 50,000 Delta Sky Miles. So what are we going to call it that?
Feels like a 2026 Allo Labs project because I have lots of points everywhere. And I'm like, how do I actually do anything with this?
Well, I mean,
the biggest issue is when you only have a little bit of points everywhere. Because now you're talking about hundreds of dollars scattered in hundreds of different accounts. You can't do anything with that when your flight is going to cost $500.
Yeah, this is the case where diversification hurts you.
Yeah.
You actually want concentration.
Well, and this becomes an interesting analogy to the stablecoin market is if there are multiple different issuers of coins, and, the problems in the points world is in the Jelly Club for Clark, right? Is there's no clear source of liquidity in a market for buying and selling. Therefore, every transaction is super expensive to do a conversion, right? Like the old days of Vegas when they wouldn't cash each other's chips in, right? And so you walk around, this could be people in the future with pockets full of different coins in different places. And because the conversion fees are so high, because, until we reach a standard, you're just stuck.
What you're talking about is a rewards point back stablecoin that just creates that we're just going to offer liquidity for anyone that has all these stablecoins. Here's the conversion, right? That's floating, your floating price to get into our stablecoin.
I'd like to call it Grinch coin. I feel like we're accumulating all these points from all these various sources, and we're going to be the owner in our Grinch coin. And which of our Allo Labs member banks wants to help build the rails for this, and they can be the acceptor of all these Grinch coins.
Yep. And then once we corner the market of Delta Sky Miles, and we've got $1 trillion that we control, then we can go back to Delta and really get them.
Well,
we can have minority ownership in Delta.
Yeah, there you go.
This sounds like something Cousin Eddie is pitching to Clark after a few too many spiced eggnogs.
Oh man, is that a problem?
I think this is how the Dukes take over the airline.
It was the Dukes.
If we're gonna do this, do we need to at least set it as like Amber's returning from the big city to the hometown and meets the local
Hallmark
tree farmer,
Hallmark style?
Yeah.
Amber, you watch those.
Amber leaves her poor husband in the city who's working his really intense investment banking job to bring home multiple millions of dollars a year for them. Wow, Amber.
Yeah. But the new guy who she dated for 3 weeks in high school and has his business model is a Christmas tree farm, which is great, stable year-round cash flow. Okay. But that's Amber, you're a fan, right? You watch the Hallmark movies.
I love a predictable movie sequence. I am a rom-com girly at heart, but Hallmark is not really my jam. Yeah. It's a little too
predictable.
Yes.
My family loves them because what you just said, right? They know we're going to chuckle at them, but it's we all have our own version of where we will suspend belief and sense of reality, and the ones that other people do are stupid and eye rolling. Right? So for me, I'm a spy-fi guy, right? So give me Jason Bourne, give me James Bond. I know they're really ridiculous. I saw one, I don't know what it was called. It was way, way off the chain. It was Michael Bay with no restrictions, so we'll leave it there. But yeah, some people are the Hallmark movie. Pam's in the Harry Potter universe.
And Disney, clearly.
And Disney. Samer, we were talking the other day about how ignorant I am on the MC or the DC universe, and And see, I didn't get the right initials. DC. I do remember DC Comics and all of that. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's all about suspending a certain amount of reality, and maybe the most realistic movie of all, or holiday special, again showing my age, the 1966 classic The Charlie Brown Christmas, right? It's the most maybe reasonable, because the lesson is we all just need to lower our expectations a little bit. Right. You don't need a fancy tree. You can wrap a blanket around your head to be the shepherd. Right. It all works.
Yeah.
Well, let that be a lesson for everyone before we have conversations about year-end bonuses. Just lower your expectations.
Jelly Club, here we come.
Jelly Club, here we come. Yeah,
One that we didn't touch on, though, that I think we have to, Love Actually. Where's the finance angle there?
Again, Grinch speaking here. I'm aware of it. I'm not sure I've seen the whole thing. It might be on in passing on cable, but I don't know. What's the rundown on that one? It's Hugh Grant, right?
I got a financial take. On Love Actually.
Go for it.
Merging finances in a relationship and how that should be balanced, and how there's like no guidance from anybody or anything other than you just kind of figure it out as you go. Like, do you join accounts? Who pays more if one is a higher earner? Who pays what bill? At what point in your relationship do you start to merge finances? And are there banking applications or fintechs that help you kind of do that, like as you're still dating, other than like Venmo or like one of these things where you can just help pay each other? But is there like we're not married, so we can't have a joint bank account, but can you help us manage our finances and our payments? Is that, maybe I should start that.
There were a lot of relationships that started very fast. Who knows if they had any of those conversations?
Yeah.
You can see the lens I bring.
or the holiday, right? Where they swap houses.
I've forgotten about that. That is an oldie, but also one of those you'll find for daytime TV when everyone's stuck with their children.
Yeah, 2 different countries, no escrows, no background checks. So sure, come stay at my house for a week. In real life, she comes home and the house is emptied.
Well, I mean, at Alex Johnson's Maker Summit, someone was sharing with me, like, there's the new equivalent of the original couch surfer before it, right? Remember back when Airbnb was literally you'd be staying at other people's houses or in rooms, and couch surfers, like the Craigslist version of that.
Yes.
This is a marketplace that allows you to, when you basically share your home for someone else on vacation, and it's got this own little community feel to it, like couch surfing, but you, instead of like being just a house swap, like, hey, Samer, I'm going to be in Chicago. Wouldn't you like to bring your family up to Minneapolis for that long weekend? Because it's only going to be -30 this weekend. Very festive. But you accrue points that you can use in other places, right? And
we're back to points.
Good grief.
Yeah. We finally found a non-cross-border application for stable coins. Boom.
Well, I thought
a lot of business plans after this session.
I thought we were going to get into, wife swap, reality TV land here, and I don't remember any holiday specials from those.
JP, like, HR is calling right now. Like, this is not the holiday party where anything goes.
Well, Amber, bail me out here.
That show a lot.
Yeah, but Jason may not be aware of what I'm talking about. It's not it's not rated R. Yeah. What was it?
That's not what the title was. I can't remember right now. But that was not the title.
Life Swap? Was it Life Swap?
I feel like it was Wife Swap.
Yeah. Yeah. But bail me out.
Trading spouses?
Yeah.
Trading spouses.
It's more
well, there were 2 versions. One of them was the imitation of the other one. But yeah, basically.
And of course, the original one was the Chappelle skit.
Yeah. Well, it is, me being unaware of all of this going, wait, That sounds so bad. And there's a knockoff version of the so bad.
Yeah, it was G-rated. The idea was, though, that somebody goes. It was a Jerry Springer version of a Hallmark movie of the holiday that we just talked about. So a farmer goes to live in New York City, and the New Yorker investment banker goes to run a farm with livestock, right? So they experience the other person's life.
It's always the mom.
Yeah, it was always, right? Always.
You get a new mom and a new wife for 2 weeks, and the first week they have to abide by the existing household rules.
See, I knew.
And then week 2, they switch it up and put their rules into the household, and then at the end, obviously, the moms switch back, and everyone is much more appreciative of their mother and partner after the experiment.
Yeah. I don't know how we got on that trail, but
I don't know, but we are definitely at the point that I'm going to hear from HR after this. So we should probably cut it and go back to the eggnog. But, for all of our listeners, remember the true meaning of Christmas is not gifts. It's not family. It's really understanding internal controls. Fraud is prevalent everywhere. Never, ever just, accept a credit card without doing the proper check of the ID, especially if they appear to be a minor. And I think that's the most important takeaways here is regulators play a very important role, and they were absent in all of these films. That's why we have our bah humbugs. In all seriousness, a happy holidays to all who do celebrate. We look forward to chatting with you next year. And if you think this is fun, wait until you see our St. Patrick's Day party.
That's it for another week of the world's #1 fintech podcast and radio show, Breaking Banks. This episode was produced by our US-based production team, including producer Lisbeth Severance, audio engineer Kevin Hersham. If you like this episode, don't forget to tweet it out or post it on your favorite social media, or leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Facebook, or wherever it is that you listen to our show. Those actions help other people find our podcast, and in return, that helps us build an audience that can be supported by sponsorship so we can continue to provide you with our award-winning content every week. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you on Breaking Banks next week.